Hello and welcome to another X-Plane 12 video. This time we are not in our Super Cub, we are in a Vans RV10 as we're using the plug-in XP Korea. We've built up enough flight hours to go ahead and do the check ride for our high performance pistons. This is a beautiful model, and if we head inside the cockpit here, we can see that we have a lovely set of displays, we have autopilot, and the reason I've chosen this RV10 to do the check ride is I'm hoping that we can find one on the in-game used market, and hopefully this should be our nice four-seater aircraft that we can use for some longer distance missions, carry maybe a little bit more cargo, and potentially, seeing how we get on with this aircraft, we could start to look at maybe doing some of the aerobatic procedures. So let's get going. We need to do our check ride first. So in our plugins in XP Korea, we're going to open up our main window and we see that we are in this RV10 here, which we're not allowed to fly at the moment. But what we're going to do is click Take Check Ride, and then this is going to say high performance, greater than 200 horsepower. It's going to cost us $300 for this check ride. Seems pretty cheap to me. We need to take off and climb. We're then going to perform 4 maneuvers, which are just going to be altitude and heading holds, so really simple stuff. And then we need to land with a good rating or better. Then we shall park and shut down. Sounds nice and easy. Let's start the check ride. Let's load up the examiner, the instructor, I guess, and then let's start preparing this RV10. So we're going to have the battery master on. We'll turn the avionics master on. It's going to get everything starting up here. We'll go ahead, set our mixture to rich. We will get into our navigation. We're not going to be needing the navigation because we simply follow the instructions down here from our quote-unquote instructor, so we need to take off and climb to 2,300 feet. So we'll get our beacon on, which on this RV10 I believe is the strobes that we need to enable. I will also do the nav lights because I do not want to come across a penalty just in case. We do have our fuel selector down here on the left tank, and if we take a look at our display here, we can see that we've got 10 gallons per side. That should be plenty for what we are planning to do today. We shall crack the throttle ever so slightly. We do have a fuel pump, so we'll go ahead and flick that on as well. Let's check the weather here over at Oaksey. So here we are. We are looking at the details. So we can see 3,200 feet in some rain, and then we are departing on runway 22. So let's fire up the engine and taxi on over to runway 22. So here we are lined up on runway 22. Let's go ahead and engage our landing lights. Nice and good. I did forget to do my taxi lights during my taxi. Hopefully the examiner did not notice that. And then let's grab some flaps down. We can go ahead and turn on our transponder like so. Looking good. I believe everything is happy. We're going to leave autopilot off, we don't need it. Avionics on. Fuel pump, we can go and turn that back on for our departure. Looking good. So we're just going to depart straight ahead and climb to 2,300 feet. Let's check what the QNH here is 1006. So I need to work out how to change that. There we go. So I have changed our altimeter setting, so now we can get that to 1006. Perfect. Alright, let's release our parking brake and take off for the first time in this RV10. Oh, there we go, little rocket ship. And let's ease back off the power. And we're going to get our flaps away. Looking good. Alright. Let's keep the climb going up to 2,300. Get ourselves trimmed for a bit of a climb here. There we are, looking pretty good. We're going to keep this going. Let's flick off that fuel pump now. We probably don't need it at this point. We can also chuck away our landing light. A little bit of rain on our windscreen there, but nothing to be concerned with. And as we approach 2,300, I'm just going to ease down the power and slow down our climb. There we go, so now it wants us to maintain an altitude of 2,300 and a heading of 150. So I'm going to make our left turn over here to 150. You want to zoom in just a little bit. There we go. I'm going to try and maintain 2,300 at a heading of 150. There's our heading 150, 2,300, and then we need to maintain this just over until that XP career shows that we are complete. Got the trim set pretty well for this speed. It's looking good. There we go. So now we need to climb to 3,100 and turn to a heading of 201. So I'm going to start a climbing right-hand turn. Look out the right. Looks clear. Slow down that turn. Let's reduce the speed of the climb and just gradually get ourselves up to that 3,100 on our 201 heading. Let's try and not blow through that too much. The ticker's already going up, which is good. There we are. So now it wants 3,200, so slightly higher, and a heading of 206, so pretty much exactly the same. And I think within the bounds of the error margins, it was already counting anyway. So that's a nice and easy third leg. This will be a very simple check ride. We've got a friendly instructor pilot with us at the moment. And now our last one is 3,200 of a heading of 201. We have a very, very friendly check ride. So I'm a little bit high, so I'm going to reduce. I'm down at 3.3. I'm kind of in disbelief at how simple all this actually is. I have done one of these before as a bit of a test, and it was not this easy. Although flying on 4 headings and altitudes is actually fairly simple, even for someone like me. However, there is still time to cock it up. So now I need to turn back to Oaksey Park, and we need to land and get a good rating or better. Fingers crossed. We'll start our turn back round. We'll also start a descent as we've climbed up pretty high. Now we'll try and get visual with Oaksey. If I can't see it out here, I may just punch it in to the navigation and do the lazy trip back. As I mentioned towards the end of the last video, I treat this as a game rather than a real-world simulator. I am not a pilot. I have no plans on training to become a pilot anywhere in the near future. So for me, this is a game. Please keep that in mind. I do not see Oaksey out there off my nose. So let's do the easy thing. We're going to come down here. We're going to do a flight plan, and we are going to pop in Echo Golf Tango Whiskey. This is a little bit tricky to do. There we go, Oaksey Park, and then it should give us a direct track towards that. So it's actually 3.4 miles off our left, which there it is. If I was a bit more thorough with my searching, I would have seen it. I was expecting it more way off my nose, however. Cool, so we have visual with Oaksey down there. We're actually set up quite nicely for our runway 22 approach. So let's get our landing light on. We'll pop our fuel pump back on. There we are, over this direction. Very nice. We can start descending. We're a little bit high, so let's bring down our throttle and we shall begin slowing and descending. This will be my first landing in the RV10, so hopefully we still manage to pass our check ride. Let's hope. Here we go then, we're starting our turn to a final for runway 22. Do another check. So my lights are good, my mixture's full rich, props full rich, my landing gear is fixed, the fuel pump is on, and I don't think I need anything else. We're good. Let's go ahead and get some flaps in. Let's get ourselves slowed way down. So we shall add some flap. Bring some power down to keep the descent going. Add our second notch of flap in there. And that's really going to slow us down. Fantastic. Don't want to slow down really too much more than this, so I'm going to trim down ever so slightly, get a bit more speed and power down to continue the descent. The lineup for this final is not very good at all, so we'll extend out to the right here and then bring it in and then drop our power down. Windsock is pointing in the right direction for us. That's very good. All I need to do is not slam it into the ground. Go into a flare. And there we go. Cool. So, I do see a lot of fail in the bottom right. But let's just get this plane under control first. Just pulsing the brakes, and there we go. We're going to turn off Get our flaps away. And then we're going to spin around into our lovely, convenient parking area. Okay, that will do me there. Let's set our parking brake, like so. So, let's take a look at this. We failed our landing lights. Well, my landing lights were on, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. We failed the active runway and we failed the center line. Let's take a look here at our map. The departure and the arrival runway was runway 22, and I'm pretty sure we landed on the center line. Really not quite sure what happened there. According to the touchdown, it was a very good landing, so we will believe the plugin and say that it was a very good landing. So we're ready to taxi. Oh, we've already taxied even. We're here. We just turned straight off the runway. So let's get the landing lights switched off, and then we shall turn off our fuel pump, get our avionics off. We can go ahead and shut down. And with everything shut down, we see here that we have our check ride passed, and we have a type rating has been added to our profile. Let's check it out and see what we see. So here in our company manager, we can see that my completed type ratings now states high performance. So we are allowed to fly high performance aircraft such as this RV10. We now see that in the green. What I'll be doing next time is hopefully trying to see if we can get an RV10 on the used market and actually own one of these things, because we'll probably be flying it for a little while until we're able to build ourselves up to 10 flight hours, where we can then look at taking our next check ride onto some smaller jets. But I want to thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you next time.